Hello, everyone. Welcome to Segue. Thank you for coming. My name is Stella, and I organized this series with Jay Sanders. This is the fourth reading. Tonight, we are especially thrilled to present performances by Juliana Huxtable, who will be introduced by my colleague Nushin Gaimi, Eszter Balint, with an introduction by Jay Sanders, and Rezarta Seferi, who I will introduce. Since there's 3 readers tonight, we're just going to forego any intermissions and just run straight through the program. So, Nushin, welcome you to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Like perhaps many of you here tonight, I first experienced the force of Juliana Huxtable's art at a DJ set at a party in Brooklyn. Since 2010, Juliana has established herself as a prominent figure in New York City's electronic music scene. She has played for just about every iconic party or club in New York, including her own series, Shock Value, and in her second home, Berlin, not to mention across the world from Brazil to China. After following Juliana on Instagram a few years ago, I quickly learned that in addition to legendary DJ, she's a veritable Renaissance woman for the 21st century. She's a poet, a painter, a rock star, an activist, a cultural influencer, and on and on. She juggles these disciplines with ease and has built an upstanding reputation with insiders of each of these communities. Juliana is originally from the small Bible Belt town of Bryan College Station in Texas. She moved to New York in 2010 after graduating from Bard College. Around this time, she also gained a following on Tumblr for her writing and images. There are indelible markings of these online platforms strewn across her writing in typed out URLs and emoticons that punctuate her poems. In 2017, she published her poetry anthology, Mucus in My Pineal Gland, and co-authored an apocalyptic romance book with Hannah Black titled Life, a Novel. It is almost impossible to coherently enumerate all of the references and influences that readers may pick up on in Juliana's writing, but just to name a few, they include Deleuze and Guattari, Nubian imagery, Toni Morrison, streetwear fashion, furries, GMOs, industrial music, and Clarice Lispector. Within her art and writing, the commonality between these disparate elements becomes Juliana and her lived experience. She manages to thrillingly capture whatever remaining zeitgeist exists of our time. In the opening pages of Mucus in My Pineal Gland, she declares, "Shout out to my urban angels searching for post or pre-genital desire via GPS, like snot, mucus, cum, shit, sweat, the uniting elements that form the basis of reality." Many of Juliana's poems, including the one I just read, are written in all caps. They are confrontational and provocative, leaping off the page and into your psyche. While reading Mucus in My Pineal Gland, all I could think about was stickiness, if not only because of Juliana's engrossment with bodily secretions, but also from the feeling that you, the reader, have become a piece of gum chewed to the rhythms of Juliana's writing. Juliana's poems probe against the dark and perverted corners of our globalized world, laying them bare as a form of analysis and also revolution. She muses on the violent breakdown of our physical and socio-political identities via reproduction and social media, but sews a new sense of humanity back together through a genuine trust and experimentation. Always at play in Juliana's work is the double entendre. She suggests that things are not how they appear, that there may be a deep and ambiguous conspiracy unfolding beneath us. Most importantly, Juliana never tells you quite how you're supposed to feel about these things, but instead allows for a generative space for one's own feelings and reflections. I'm very excited to see what kind of space tonight will become. So please welcome Juliana Huxtable.
I feel like that's the best introduction I've ever gotten. Thank you. I'm going to read mostly stuff that I've been working on over the past 6-ish months, and then end with some stuff that I've worked on in this past week. Okay, the first poem is called Post-Punk. Against and as what? Once a who, presumably shattered, shooketh at unspeakable sunset, claws of which screams, no, anti, anti, forgetful of or tragically cut off from that which was to come after, simply post whatever supranamable omnipotence speaks illustratively in ubiquities of microplastics, thusly unyielding and inviolable rushing flow of metatype monstrosity. Seismographic fistfuls of blood and soil blow over negligible specificities of rage, trickle into free radicals, unchain love from its placable conditionings. Uncouth irreverences of sun-bleached magenta, leopard print scraps unravel rayon from spandex, suffocates indignant blowholes of righteous counter-hyphenates, bifurcating as or as portentous plunders of dolicidal holy wager, or as last bastions of refusing iconography that, it has recently been confirmed, are losing the armed struggle for their iconicity, ungracefully holding flame to the seams of a pyrotechnic engorgement, drunkenly sardonic, but totally full of shit, and absolutely, absolutely terrifying. This one is called XO, and it's like a rhymey poem, which I know is kind of cheesy right now, but sometimes I write these poems and scare people that I'm in romantic entanglements with. Rituals of cleansing, flits to doored wells, ineffable sacrifice of messy permutations. A prayer punctures that predestination will offer a valiant love when immured. To remnant, I pray, transmute to vestige, besought the incoherent prose of my gap, so that I may again be rotund and coquettish, floating limpid and wrapped in our rapture. Is the function of flesh, O my love, to glint in poured parable the verge of will, to spite the psychoanalyst's drives over bosoms, desiccate mouth to quivering, hallowed quill, which is all to say in the form of a suckling ask, to fetter the direct to the chaos of attunement, to arpeggiate the wind at the joints of a body while the mouthpiece is writing the peal of the bell. The eternal intermittence of a slip in form from the prism of Geist in the schism of decay, a single ray split to filament ensemble, speckles of disco on a sweat-covered face, odor of a body in a perspiring place, a burbling impatience says, "Fix it, Lord." Semiurgy of somatic text where alchemy and intimacy proselytize as one. Blithely ask the senses to surrender, or rather for involution at the sun's demand. As skin, as water weight, as the density of a slug, tightening and embracing fibrous tissues of the scar, intoxicated by the scale, bringing us closer in thirst, our mutant ideals and heal with their forms. Our mystic phenomenology disentangling from time, diving from the prosaic tactility of truth, suddenly emerge as the surface of plenitude, waiting through the reflected glances from you, flummoxed. This next one is called Scabless, which is, I guess it's more like a erotic poem. I wouldn't call it a love poem, although I may or may not have thought of myself as in love with one or two of the people it's about. Attenuations of ginger fray to ahistorical glia as, stretching chest from which brief tresses are pulled, and areolus discs of freshly bathed plume, shimmy aria coos among scents of thee. Still elsewhen, lingering drift of, parasentient chiffon adown, the bankless, radiating slopes of my epigenetic allelochemical aura. It must be a full moon, wonders, the eye glancing at the wet, wet mouth of a lover's gustatory lust, whose analemmas obediently, followed by their shadow, over-enthusiastically, abrasing my epigenetic allelochemical aura in two. Ultra-visibility. You say, what? As if the surface of I were not tickled, raw, prickled, chiromonal, is laughing, fruit-begetting rejoinders for once servitude to historical responsibility and, paradoxically, to its opaque former life as blossom, of whose horny essence pheromonal notes retain only diminutions. Calling to the competing signals of what an Irishman is to the inflamed sensory pathways of the eye. Into anti-hero pilot, the deprecating self flattens and extends its planes for need to be needed, bursting soundbite bubbles as licked, giggling kisses as cued, then the screenplay's logistics jamble to halting. Enjambment sparks as the aura's circuitries are crushed circuitously, exercised via papillae of semiochemical historicity, eaten from between the thighs of self. Slob on my cat, get it nice and wet. We suture all that can be from what always, unfortunately, was, in which auspice perversions of practical and paramount, lapping highways weathered by wheels of proverbial forefathers, their repressed tongues, and toys of mid-century Midwest steel. Revitalization and temperance of family prohibition, effortful pulses blast alloy confessions, chase icons along the hushed traverse of weeping rivers, once trails to a mall in Chicago's jockeys, tight, whiteys I now pull you through so easily. Or rather, make way for your glands to find my uvula engrossed in the oscillation of ethnic production. Realness, real fucking, Americanness, untidy, sawdust and powdered russet, dust stuck to you sturdy form, slinging surety, it's focused engrossed in the oscillation of ethnic production. Toiling towards scabless elopement without love, we, on the floor of a woodworking studio, redeem our enjambments, drool puddles, reflecting pool in the Norman Rockwell navel, deflecting exhaustion to memory palace, landing the you and the I, shored up, breathless in Mannahatta. This one is called Riley, named after my friend Riley, who's here. One time we did a lot of ketamine on my couch, and it felt really profound, and so I wrote this poem after. My bratty Wonka kid projection is that I want Riley's show to be a low-key manifestation of that one time on my couch. Me and my sis mind melted, connected our heartbeats, and understood that we had morphic fields more lit than any novel could splay. I can't remember where our limbs ended, or began, or ached, because when me and my sis flesh mound were literally gloop, wobbling wimply womp womp. For that indescribable stretch of something akin to a passage, we were whole. Your gerp splurk blunk. Stargate for ESP, I thought, is? That is our silent dialogue, was meta inner monologue, and for an ultimately brief window reflection in the water-filled vase, my sis and I absolute. Ever since we were one, like that liquefied balloon, flattish and flubbery, tranquilized to speechlessness, version of an absent best friend in the PSA against smoking weed. So, Sarah, what's going on here? Sarah? Sarah? She won't answer you. This is the sober friend speaking now. Well, she can't. This is the way she's been since she started smoking pot. She's all lazy and boring and So me and my sis are the sun-melted stoner friend, two become one, and we're definitely not lazy or boring. We're actually legit, vibrating tea to each other. Sometimes we read to each other on couches, in beds, words burbling us down to hot flesh pools, like the witches we low-key always knew we always already were. The whole witches poet thing is obviously true and ran through, but what we are, my sis and I, stoner sloth Sarah, literally flattened, unsettling the normies who stare at us in the bench in the corner of the club, asking in grimace, why are they doing that? Little do they know that they actually use the right pronoun for me, meaning my sis and I, when we're reading to myself. At some point, I form an utterance. Sis. That was real, right? Obviously. This is something I wrote today called Indignance. Is an indignant, glaring might, accounts for nothing surfaces, pooling at the outer banks of perception's Gaussian temporalities. Rearward, through finite inversions of that last lucid film, escape through the framer's intent in naming it orbital rim, or orbital return of a childhood summer nap, the blinking crack from which now glides sideways, transmits light unmarked by evocation. Too softly, slippery, then rendering neither figurative nor blank, circumnavigation routine, in hovering red vine preserves, sooner viscid, glowing wet sheets, entire isness of which is love without sound. Beep, beep, beep. Along the brim of dawn's operational definition is burning away the lasting ingness of pure consciousness. Between them, a wee head paused in place, awakening the memory of a diatribe against my unliving as colloid in itches brew, EMF of which has to be carcinogenic, behind the transparency of the Apple clock so easily disappeared. Then, when is Andre's morning after? A chain in becoming two heavy ropes attached to a wall. For working out, ropes for working, out grab them firmly, for they will rest their shaking, must demand their going up, to precondition their arrival at the right place. Virulently, now, a force, a fitness manifesto form the waves of their resistance through which to say, listen, adhere, coalesce, and expand my tissue. Focus on the left side. In spirit of hydromantic indifference, a freshly sharpened quill speaks itself as fucking alkaloids of varying potencies through articulation, claiming by way of rot accurate representation of my purported political valences. Reflections of a floral watercolor between glass of apartment window and glass of unused desktop shined, captured in an iPhone photo corner, set to be deleted, bleeds something irredeemable, hopeless. Hemophilia, its caterwaul idolatry, must be shut the fuck up. Crouching beneath the warmth of Sunday morning, a neutered imp drips on about the conditions for an apophatic heat of the gender revolution as it can only come thusly, wrenching guts to wonder why the spleen produces no bile, yet America, the alleged feminist lie. That's where I stopped. I started that this morning. And the last thing I'm going to read is just a little, it's part of an ongoing erotic novella, I guess I would call it, about my experiences meeting lovers in clubs, which is my favorite place to meet lovers. He had begun to notice this strange habit of hers, spinning theories out of circumstance for what it seemed was the mere sport of surmising. When he suggested she elaborate her sentences to find pleasure in her literary voice, toying with the limits of recursion and postmodernity, she, retreating into herself and returning moments later, suggested his idea of syntax and convention was soon to be outmoded, as it was rooted in passé subjectivities, ontological space-time paradigms, as she so succinctly put it at the time, rooted in technological and superstructural conditions unfit for this present chaos. She began an aside about the telegraph and universal mail and just as quickly let it slip. He didn't notice. His conventions of syntax, she argued, were already anachronisms, and that her jolted experimental dialogue was ahead of its time in being quite perfectly suited for the time. A purpose, responsibility even, that she was convinced had been outright abnegated by the Luddites who had let literature atrophy in its capacity for social transformation. She held his hand. When, she continued, I want to express love to you, I can do so in seconds from anywhere in the world, just as I kiss you here. She proceeded to kiss his hand. The density of correspondence, of information that takes siege of us all, has left us fried, exhausted. I'm bottomed out. You're bottomed out. It is the task of literature, as all art, she surmised, to retreat from density, to transmute the prosaic into the negativity of discrimination. My syntax is not inability to elaborate ideas into some pseudo-Proustian, she was fond of making up words from historical figures and concepts, sublime. Mine is the sublime of language's retreat as the clear result of no's, of refusals, leaving only the wholly unmodern minimal. She couldn't hold back her smile, turning away so as not to burst at the seams, then spun around with a smug alacrity and shrugged, releasing her ponytail into a wild descent around her chubby face. But who knows, she trepidatiously began. I could just be full of shit. Can you type your edits and send them to me? All feedback is useful in some form, and I can't get enough of your head. His face was soon between her ridges, then again in her lap, praising his orator with an anointed tongue and fingers toying nipples. Turning upwards, not fully having come, or come to again, she parted her eyes to see what this dripping anointment, now sprinting across her collarbone, was exactly. They opened to a long worm-like tunnel, at the end of which were shifting silhouettes in feverish motion. A drop landed on her arm, and she realized, her wits now back about her, that it was jism. That lab, unsurprisingly, as it was at the intersection of very gay and very German, had a funnel for cockworms to ejaculate onto whoever was below. Presently, she and Raphael. There's come raining on us, she turned to Raphael. He, visibly more disgusted than she, grabbed her hand, pulling her in his laughing and lamenting jolt away from the cum bucket as they returned to the dance floor, determined to find Valentino, who Raphael was convinced she absolutely had to meet. Thank you.
That was nice. Thank you, Juliana. I liked it too. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jay Sanders, and this is my artist space. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I am if I say I am. It's my deepest pleasure to introduce the brilliant and I dare say legendary Eszter Balint. We are incredibly fortunate to be joined tonight by an artist whose work so formidably spans multiple disciplines. Eszter's artistry began with her foundational time growing up in her family's iconic Squat Theater on 23rd Street, right here in New York, a groundbreaking avant-garde collective that radically advanced both experimental theater and performance art. Her years at Squat centered her in downtown New York's radical performance nexus, both within Squat's boundlessly unruly live productions and its double life as an important underground music club. The coalescence of life and performance, private living and public gathering has continued to define her distinctive approach to art making, building narratives through the reflexivity of her highly unique lived experience. As an actress, Eszter has brought complex, deeply human characters to life, captivating audiences in films by Jim Jarmusch, starring in Stranger Than Paradise, Woody Allen and Steve Buscemi, and even sharing the screen with David Bowie. She starred in a 6-episode arc of Louis C.K.'s Louie and continues to leave an indelible mark on both the small and big screen. Her roles are known for their raw emotion, fearless vulnerability, and deep exploration of the human experience. Eszter's artistry at its core is centered within the duality of words and music. She has crafted poignant melodies and disarming lyrics across 4 critically acclaimed solo albums, including Flicker, Mud, and Airless Midnight. Her musical collaborations are just as consequential, with her violin and vocals featured in projects by Michael Gira's Angels of Light and Swans, John Lurie, Rommel Z, and Mark Rebo, to name just a few. Her most recent project, I Hate Memory, is a major song cycle and live performance exploring memory and identity as it chronologically traces the personal intricacies of her own life. It's a work that seamlessly blends her mastery of storytelling, music, and theater, staged in an ongoing series of shows at Manhattan's famed Joe's Pub, and continues to extend the frontiers of her artistry. Tonight, she is joined by her collaborator and friend, the inimitable singer and songwriter, Chris Cochran. Please join me in welcoming Eszter Balint.
Hello. That was amazing. Can I have that like as my bio? Because I'm very intimidated now because the literature in these intros is just sets such a high standard. Oh, okay, good. Then this is Chris Cochran, who I've played with off and on for, well, since before we were born, basically. And he's going to accompany me, and I'm going to start with something very, very new. It's funny, Juliana, you were so great, and you also did something that I was going to do, which is a semi-apology about a little bit of rhyminess. But sometimes my songs, not sometimes, always, my songs start as poems, so I'm kind of also singing them in my head a little bit. So that's what's going on here. This thing, though, may remain a poem, and we will see. It's called America's Last Pie Stand. Do you start this, or do I? He's the boss. The pie in the sky is a real hole in the ground. That's America, baby, says I. Old enough to remember when the world was round. That's amnesia, my love, I reply. Red and white neon flashing into infinity promises apple pie to drivers on Route 20. The road, a coiled snake, strangles its passengers into the future. A dead end for now. At least it's not New Jersey, the car radio bellows. Don't tread on me. Don't tread on me. Old enough to forget yesterday was a real home I no longer recognize. And old enough to remember when the lost were found. Or so we sang. Stuck behind a trailer, bored and barely moving. The future has arrived. The future is closing. And the diner already closed. The pie is stale, and the flies doing what flies do, stuck in the raspberry jam. I'm in a jam too, in traffic under vertical skies, as sun sets on sanity here on Route 20. And there's a man named America screaming at his wife in the car next to mine. Okay, so that was the new one. Now I'm going to read a poem which is from my show, which was mentioned. And this is just to set the stage a little bit. Yeah, so I grew up in this theater company that toured a lot. And when I was a kid, one summer, we were invited to Iran by the country's biggest experimental theater fan, the Empress Farah. I had a daydream of a place rich and wild. Pungent orange blossoms next to regret blossoms, and jewels glistening on olive trees under Persian skies. A saffron sunset, the sky tinted red as we walk through these legendary gates. Theater meet politics. It's not a safe space. Greetings. Welcome to the festival. You can smell the nocturnal blooming of orange flowers and the nocturnal bleeding of revolution. Rounding up the suspects came just months after the riots, which some only half-jokingly said our art bodega started. We're greeted by our hosts, marked for execution. Welcome, immigrant children, from the land of great Satan to the land of the haves and have-nots, hatred and song, and unison violins, mournful, slightly out of tune to your Western ears. Jasmine, saffron with a chaser of some Chase the Dragon, other fragrance in the air. And there's a fever, a hot, hot fever smoldering around us. Rage and holy passion on the faces of strangers. Mortar and pestle breaking the rocks on the spice market. But in evenings we'll gather with students who pass the pipe and inhale peace, art, and ideas. Conversation soothes, and we nearly forget revolution's not far. Already it's smell in the air. The haves are our hosts, offering bowls of overflowing praise and pistachios. Blossom-scented cocktails served by hired help next to a turquoise pool, reflecting luxury and excess, and the invisible rope around their necks. And the have-nots like wild rabid dogs, surround us, biting, pulling at our coat sleeves, latching on, not letting go. They're outside the theater, throwing rocks, a mob shattering the glass on the avant-garde. University students will speak softly, the language of art in a haze of smoke. They too will get caught up sooner or later, somewhere in the crossfire. They inhale and know no one escapes. The smoke from factories, opium pipes, and the performance props set ablaze by angry mobs dance their tangled dance with the scent of spices from the east. The sirens of worship tell it like it is with their 5 o'clock lament. Oh, strange, beautiful song, mysterious city and its volatile air. Strings slightly out of tune to our Western ears. The cough I took home took 5 doctors to tame, but there's no cure for history and the role you played. And this one is going to be apt and timely. I think this is going way back. This is also from my show. And I'm going to set the stage. Location, London, a movie theater near Piccadilly Circus. Characters, 4 kids with a guardian, one of the mothers in their extended family of theater makers who had just left Hungary and were living in Western Europe. Action, watching a black and white newsreel before the feature. Time, before America. So here's a memory from the old modern times, a newsreel and a handshake before the film starts. It's a newsreel spectacular of the inaugural parade. The band is marching in from the USA, and we're almost in the US, almost in the US. Almost in the US. It's a nice part of town. Georgia man is waving from Newsreel Avenue, and he's bringing the peanuts to a dark theater near you. These winds blow quietly, bring good seeds with the dust, not with speed, but an easy smile. To almost in the US, to almost in the US, and to us. Almost in the US, and to us. Recently the world had begun to spin, and we're almost in the US, where it's legal to sin. With his Southern Baptist holy water, the Reverend will bless us. He's a farmer of hope and of peanuts, and we're almost in the US. Almost in the US. Almost in the US. Almost in the US. It was a fine neighborhood. Fresh faith in the old drama. Time for change. Change. We need change. Always swaying from change to change. Each infused with new hope injected with new rage, till the hassles grow old and tired, and we reject this change for another, brand new, better one. Jimmy, too, was a leader for a change. Before change gave way, crisis of confidence arrived. Then you insisted on trading him in for still more change and pulled the plug, pulled the rug. Those politics died. But today, the dust blows seeds, and it will carry the day in a newsreel spectacular of the inaugural parade. And we sit and watch in peace from almost in the US. We're coming soon, Jimmy. Are you waving to us? We're coming soon, Jimmy. Are you waving to us? We're coming soon, Jimmy. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, and thank you to Jay for having us, and thanks to Stella and everyone and for that beautiful introduction, which I'm going to rip off as my new bio. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. Can you hear me? Hi. What? Oh, thank you. So this is the third and final act, and I'm very excited to introduce Rezarta today. Rezarta Seferi. Rezarta plays many roles in her life. She's an actress, a writer, a singer, a comedian, and the producer here at Artist Space. I first came to know of Rezarta in a performance capacity through her role in the hilarious videos of New Red Order, which were featured in the group's solo exhibition here at Artist Space in 2021. When Rezarta started working here shortly thereafter, I realized how serious she was about acting when she started attending classes, sometimes 5 days a week after work. Over the years, she has been trained in the schools of Meisner, Stella Adler, and most recently, Richard Maxwell, and has spent countless hours volunteering for the Worcester group and sitting in on their rehearsals. During Richard Maxwell's week-long acting intensive this past summer, I had the pleasure of receiving live updates from camp. For the culminating presentation of short plays, written by and casted with the program's participants, she told me she was writing a play called Mosquito. It would star artist Rachel Harrison as Rezarta's cold-hearted mother, a role written for Rachel. The play was about a girl who gets her period for the first time, and at that very moment, a mosquito enters the room. According to Rachel, it had the audience in stitches. Regarding Rezarta's high-energy presence at camp, Richard mentioned to me, "My memory of Rezarta being in the room is akin to when I light a brick of firecrackers on the 4th of July. This past September, I was present for Rezarta's theatrical debut in the play Cave Zero, which took place in a backyard in Bed-Stuy. I had no idea what to expect, but since Jim Fletcher and Alex Tatarski were in it, I knew she was among very good company. It turned out the production value of the play nearly matched the level of acting. A retractable set made by the actors themselves transformed from a rooftop submerged in water to an ancient forest to the interior of a kitchen that doubled as a TV production set. As an audience member, I felt I was witnessing an event of a bygone era, the inspired fruits of a collective brought together by their shared investment in sheer creativity, performance for performance's sake. Watching Rezarta live for the first time, I found myself initially unable to separate her character from Rezarta the producer, and became attuned to the way in which she was actually inhabiting multiple roles at once, committing wholeheartedly to the downtrodden luck of her stranded character while remaining vigilant of the complicated physical setup of the play, ready to not jump out of her role but integrate her technical ingenuity and lightning speed problem-solving skills into it. This is one thing I really admire about Rezarta. She somehow makes sure everything runs smoothly behind the scenes while simultaneously remaining a main character. In the words of Jim Fletcher, Res requires no references, referees, Res's rays rise from aorta's raised areas, arrays, pros, diodes, and rose red rays. Outside of her burgeoning career as a performer, Rezarta and I see each other almost every day in a professional capacity. Relationships with coworkers are uniquely intense in this way because when you add up all the hours, you probably spend more time with them than with your close friends or family. And since we've worked together for over 3 years at this point, I know for a fact that I've spent thousands of hours talking and laughing with her in this very space. Today, Rezarta continues a long-standing tradition of artists presenting their craft here, while also working for the institution. So I'm especially honored to include her in this program. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Rezarta.
Affirmations for actors before getting on stage. I have a remarkable ability to memorize text and punctuation. I have a remarkable ability to memorize text and punctuation. I am not civilized, therefore I cannot be judged by society standards. I am not civilized. Therefore, I cannot be judged based on society standards. This is how I look all the time, and that's a good thing. This is how I look all the time, and that's a good thing. I have nothing to lose but my limits and my Instagram followers. I have nothing to lose but my limits and my Instagram followers. If I don't do this now, now will be gone. Now is 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 gone.
conoscenza del vissuto degli uomini non è una scienza esatta, bensì un'esperienza legata alla contingenza e un processo che evolve ininterrottamente.
I'm going to move things around a little bit. Everything that happens in life can happen in a show. You can make them laugh. You can make them cry. Anything, anything can go. The clown with his pants falling down, or the dance, that's the dream of romance, or the scene where the villain is me, that's entertainment. The lights on the lady in tights, or the bride with the guy on the side, or the role where she gives it her all, that's entertainment. Okay. Hello. Can you zoom in on the Zoom, like really close? Like really tight frame? How close can it get? Okay. Shout out to the people on Zoom. Many of you told me that you were going to be here today, but you are alone in your room, staring at me on your laptop like a perv. But I have one thing to say to you. Thank you for coming to my show. I love you. Zoom out. We're done with the people on Zoom. Bye, Zoom. We need a wide frame now. Okay. Okay. We're gonna start with a little audience icebreaker, improvisation. So the first things first is, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but I do need an audience volunteer. You're not gonna speak on mic, you're just gonna type some things. Anyone can type? Can anyone here type? Yeah. Yeah, okay, thank you. So you can sit in this chair if you'd like. Here's the laptop, handy dandy, or whatever, you want to stand or sit, but essentially, so it's very simple. We're gonna do a little improv to get to know each other, just see where everyone's head at is today, how everyone's feeling. I'm going to start a sentence, and if I point the microphone at you, you just finish a sentence in any way possible. You can like think on it, or you can just do quick. It's whatever you want. So your job, typist, is to type the sentences. It's just going to be one sentence. I'm going to start it. You finish it. You got it? Typist is ready. Typist is ready.
Typist is ready.
Great. Okay. First sentence. The greatest feeling in the world is when...
Greatest feeling in the world.
Is when... The greatest feeling in the world is when...
The clouds come descending below the level of your station, and you can see them.
Did you get all that? Wait. The greatest feeling in the world is when the clouds. You got the first part, I assume. Is when the clouds. One more time, please.
When the clouds descend below where you're standing, and you can see them from above.
When the clouds descend below from where you're standing, and you can see them from above. Did you get that? It's kind of a good entry into your mind. Are you ready for the next sentence? I know, that was like 80 words a minute, please. Okay. You ever wonder if... You ever wonder if...
That's my entry.
Laughing? Okay, that's good. You ever wonder if... Ha 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 ha. This is good because it's poetry. Doesn't need to make sense. Okay. You're done. The sexiest person alive is...
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Should we use that one? Or should we... I think we need a new one. Yeah. The sexiest person alive is...
An ever elusive concept.
Yes! Yes, that's really good. Is an ever elusive concept. That was really good. Okay. I don't think it's particularly interesting when... I don't think it's... Should I do that? I don't think it's particularly interesting when...
He asked me that damn question.
When you ask me that damn question. Yes. Aggression from the audience. Yeah, that's good. I feel like I should go this way. Do you mind moving your chair a bit? Sometimes my job is so... Plain. Sometimes my job is so plain. This one's really hard, so... does anyone have a PhD in the audience, be honest? I know there's someone with a fucking PhD. Who has a PhD? This one's really hard. Nobody, okay. Master's degree, at least, level. This one's hard. I
Am alive?
Am alive. Hell yeah. Life-affirming co-authorship. People should believe in
God.
Yeah. Absolutely. Hopefully after this show, more people. That's good. All right. I'm most afraid of...
Public speaking.
It's not that scary. After you sing a song, it's not that scary. That's pretty good. Okay. I really wish I could stop thinking about...
How to answer this question?
Don't write that. That's bullshit. Fuck that. No. We're being honest on stage tonight, bitch. Wait, which one was I on? Oh. No, I can't talk to you. I really wish I could stop thinking about, I don't know if this mic's going to reach you, but can you?
People I work with that I want to have sex with.
HR violation! HR violation! How often do you think about them? Like, okay. Wow. I'm so fucking happy when I'm
Healthcare CEOs get shot.
wow. Let's keep it. Wow. It's gonna be a crazy poem. I wish I could go. How long is this? Let's see how long this is. Okay. Sorry. I'm not sure I'll ever make it, but if I do,
I will eat a really good fresh tomato.
perfect. You got it all, Sasha? I will eat a really good fresh tomato. Okay. Now, let's print it. I'm connected to the printer here. Very connected here. Okay. Do you know where the office is? We need someone to get, so can someone grab the, thank you, Stella. Looks good. Typist, you are dismissed. Thank you. I need the thank you, typist. Thank you so much. Nusheen, I need the second microphone up here. Is it up here already? Oh, wow. Okay. Let's wait for our printout, but I'm so sorry to tell you this, but I need another audience volunteer. You're gonna read our poem. Our co-authored poem. Yeah, come up. Who are you? Awesome. Okay, let me get your mic stand. Here.
Is there any particular affect that you want for this? That's great. I love clear directions. I'm kind of vibing holding it. Yeah, let's do this. Wait, how did you print this? What am I looking at?
I'm very connected here.
This isn't the poem that she just made.
Yeah, that's it. That's the poem.
I don't understand how this got printed, but let's do this.
I told you, I'm very connected here. Okay, so we're gonna read the poem, just like, honestly,
Matter of fact,
yeah, just like,
we're doing like
try
this weird
not-
Richard Maxwell
try
love
not
fest
to-
tonight.
it's better than Richard Maxwell.
Let's endeavor to.
Well, hold on, let me go around here because this is getting stuck. Sorry. Okay, I think first you should just read the poem straight, because let's just hear what we got
Factually,
down.
like
Yeah,
what's going
what
on.
is on there. Okay, let's hear it. Go ahead.
The greatest feeling in the world is when the clouds descend below from where you're standing and you can see them from above. You ever wonder if ha, 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 the sexiest person alive is an ever elusive concept? Okay, this is real.
Yeah.
I don't think it's particularly interesting when you ask me that damn question. Sometimes my job is so plain. I am alive. People should believe in God. I feel strongly about that.
Yes.
I'm most afraid. Yeah, you didn't ask for commentary, but I'm just gonna give my little.
Let's
We're
fucking
we're
rip
vibing.
it, rip it.
We're hanging out. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm most afraid of public speaking. I really wish I could stop thinking about people I work with that I want to have sex with. I'm so fucking happy when healthcare CEOs get shot. I'm not sure I'll ever make it. But if I do, I will eat a really good fresh tomato.
Okay. That that was. Hold on. Can you stay up for a bit? I think that was perfect, but we're gonna do it one more time, obviously.
Let's do it. I love
Okay,
to
I have a
act.
little bit of a direction. So now the problem is like you know the text now. So we kind of have like where the comedy's gonna hit, maybe.
I got a couple
You
laughs.
have a little idea. You have a bit of an idea, but what I want you to do is like forget all of that and like approach it like I'm gonna give you a direction that someone told me once. I think it's gonna help. It's rehearsal, 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 spontaneity. Got it?
I understand the principle of it, but I don't know how you want me to read this differently.
I think you do it however, whatever that means to you, but I think the thing is like now we know like there's a story here, but I want to just like
Let's build on
let's
what
build
we've-
on it.
Okay.
Let's do it one more time.
I'm going to read it the same way, to be honest.
No, that's fine. Let's hear it.
But maybe you'll hear it differently. The greatest feeling in the world is when the clouds descend below from where you're standing and you can see them from above. You ever wonder if... The sexiest person alive is an ever-elusive concept. I don't think it's particularly interesting when you ask me that damn question. Sometimes my job is so plain. I am alive. People should believe in God. I'm most afraid of public speaking. I really wish I could stop thinking about people I work with that I want to have sex with. I'm so fucking happy when healthcare CEOs get shot. I'm not sure I'll ever make it, but if I do, I will eat a really good fresh tomato.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Of course.
Can we do it one more time?
Girl,
Okay. I know.
I'm gonna need a check after that. One more time.
I'll give you some portion of
It was
the ticket
cute
sales.
it was cute for
Yeah.
2 minutes,
Okay,
but
I think this is gonna change it up a little. I have a direction that's like, okay, I want you to read it like it doesn't need to make any sense. And let's think
it
about
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but even less sense. And like now we've been reading it like these are separate sentences. Like what if we read it like maybe they're not totally separate sentences?
So maybe
they're
want them
just
to
words
not
on
be
a
separate?
page. Maybe they're just words on a page.
Okay.
It doesn't need to make any sense whatsoever. Let's try.
Okay, we're in
Yeah.
like full on
Yeah.
acting masterclass
Yeah, we're doing it.
sort of situation. Okay, you said the sentences don't have to be related, or you want the sentences to be
They don't
related?
need to be. I think it doesn't need to make any sense whatsoever,
Sure, I'll try a different affect.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this too much. Okay.
It doesn't need to make any sense at all. Like your voice can be as big and
It can be
crazy.
silly
It
and
can be, like,
stupid.
literally
Let's-
anything.
Throw some paint on the canvas.
Exactly.
I know. The greatest feeling in the world is when the clouds descend below from where you're standing and you can see them from above. She's like so entertained with her own gig. Like she's like, bitch, I'm entertained.
I love the show.
You ever wonder if, the sexiest person alive is an ever elusive concept? I don't think it's particularly interesting when you ask me that damn question. Sometimes, my job is so plain. I have this like weird musical theater joke in my head about I am alive. There's this song, I'm alive, I'm so alive. Yeah, next to normal.
You want to do that?
I just did it.
Yeah, you just did it.
I am alive. People should, again, this needs value. People should believe in God. People should, you got someone who wants to do interpretive readings. People should believe in God. Too much meaning, this is the
Not
meaning.
your show. Not your show.
I'm giving shows. And I'm a Christian. People should believe in God. I'm most afraid of public speaking. Clearly not, but we're making it work. I really wish I could stop thinking about people I work with that I want to have sex with. I'm so fucking happy when healthcare CEOs get shot. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'll ever make it. But if I do, I will eat a really good fresh tomato. Did I get the job? Did I get the job?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, that was incredible. I'm gonna do a monologue myself right now. I'm gonna do part of my show, which is, so I've been doing this thing recently where obviously a big part of acting is memorizing, memorization, and then of course when you get on stage, the whole juice of it is like, now it's supposed to seem spontaneous or impulsive, but obviously I've been working on the text for sometimes weeks and months, so I guess that's the juice. But what I've been doing recently is this practice where I've been memorizing text that is written without the intention of being performed. So like text, like one example is like a really manic like comment section on subreddit or something. Like I'll just memorize all of that text because what it does for me as an actor is it like pushes me past habits and, oh, do you need to go somewhere? Okay. Yes, you may leave. Bye, Ob. What it does is, because this text was written without the intention of being performed, and obviously these people are, well, a subreddit is one example. Another example is like an Instagram caption or something when someone is just like really crazy and, writing a ton of text without any intention of being performed. So I'm going to perform one text one monologue for you from those set of texts I've been memorizing. Wait, I need water. Oh, and I'll tell you the source of it afterwards. Okay. I had a trip where I was literally the saddest I've ever been in my life. I was there for 2 weeks, and the first 3 days was with a guy friend, but I wasn't in the mood to flirt with anybody, I guess because I didn't give him a booty call, he left, and I was so damn thankful he did. So I started writing and keeping a journal, and when I did that, I had no desire to work, but I did. I put on my heels, I turned on a ring light, and it wasn't good at first, but then something happened. I got really good and extremely hot. The whole room turned red 3 or 4 times, and it wasn't as if I was doing something evil or bad. It was my heart. It was my heart speaking through the walls. But I know for a fact, if I would have never done my journal, I don't think it would have had the same effect. I feel like the universe wanted to hear my thoughts, and because I had been so sad for so long, I never spoke up. So I feel like when the Bible talks about how through weakness, that's when God will sometimes give you the most strength, I believed in God again after that trip. I started shooting and watching every sunset by myself. I feel like by me expressing my words in my journal and whatever my hands were writing, I believe it became pure magic. And I'm sharing this because I've had some horrible days that were literally the worst. And every now and then we do need to hear a story of hope or a miracle. I think I needed to be reminded of that day as well. I have a lot I didn't share in my book because I was embarrassed by what people would say. And if I could even deal with it. I'm learning the power of words and how they can change your life. Don't ever let people confuse you or make you think you deserve abuse or mess with your head. It's so cool that we are all extremely beautiful, different people with our own stories. And to be able to connect with even 2 or 3 people or touch someone's heart and soul is the reason why I think we are here as people. That was an Instagram caption written by Britney Spears from 2024, which was unfortunately subsequently deleted, but so I just wanted to give you a bit of my practice that I'm doing now. Thank you. I'm just gonna finish with a short song and then we can go. I'll go home, or get drunk or whatever you guys want to do. Okay. It seems we've stood and talked like this before. We looked at each other in the same way then, but I can't remember where or when. The clothes you're wearing are the clothes you wore. The smile you are smiling then, but I can't remember where or when. Things that have happened for the first time seem to be happening again. And so it seems we've met before and laughed before and loved before, but who knows where or when. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Juliana, Eszter, and Rezarta. Please join us next week for William Parker and Marina Abramovich. Thank you.